Hello everybody and welcome to Golden Axe Revenge of Death Hatter.
Look at them artworks.
Basically everybody, unlike Golden Axe 2, which was a sequel to the Mega Drive port, this is an actual sequel to the original arcade version made by the same team and the original creator of the original arcade game.
Hey, Death.
It's regarded by fans as the true sequel to the original Golden Axe.
And yes, as the title implies, the villain of the first game is back for vengeance.
There's something wrong with my video. I don't hear anything.
That's because it's an arcade game. Remember, arcades, most of the time arcades had no sound until you started the gameplay.
There we go.
Have you ever been in an arcade room, Dwips?
Yes.
Oh, then you should know then.
There have been plenty of arcade machines where there's been sound when you're not playing.
Yeah, not just that. There's also the fact, Pedro, that in our giant arcade room, other machines may cover the silence of one machine.
I guess.
Oh, there you go.
I see we have quite a change in cast.
We
for this
do.
game.
None of the original characters return.
So, what kind of revenge is Death?
However, Gillius Thunderhead is in Goa's back, riding Goa's back instead of actually fighting himself. I guess in between games, Gillius maybe he lost function of his legs, and now he.
You also have Shoto clones.
Or did he hurt his back?
I guess.
You also have Shoto clones of both Axe Battler and Tyris player. So technically speaking, the style and appearance of Conan Barbarian Red Sonja is there.
Oh, it is.
They're just not the same.
I mean, he looks basically exactly like Axe Battler, but for some reason he's called Stern.
If I recall correctly, it's mentioned specifically like at least one of them is like brother or sister of.
I don't know.
The OG generation. I'm getting there. Don't worry.
The game itself doesn't actually have any story explanations. Go ahead.
The fact that you can mount and ride some of these is only making me wonder more and more what the centaur's animations would be for when she rides.
Maybe she can't.
Pedro?
I actually haven't tested for this one.
Sorry, Joe, I don't know.
Yeah, I noticed one of the characters is literally a female centaur.
Yeah, a centaur.
Oh, that's okay.
This is probably because
look, chicken leg.
Around the same time, another Sega franchise was, gaining popularity.
Oh, look, we're fighting Red Sonja.
Which was Shining Force, meaning that, oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah, for some reason, Gillius' magic is now Land of the Dead-ish rather than Thunder-themed. I don't get that. Then again, the Mega Drive sequel also changed his magic to rocks, so I guess I guess the whole Thunder gimmick didn't stick in general. But yeah, Golden Axe Revenge of Death Hatter is basically there you go. At the very least, Stern keeps the fire. Well, actually no, fire element is Tyris.
What's her name?
Anyway, Tyris is not playable, like I said, in this game, nor she has really an equivalent. You have Stern Blade, the X-Spy of Axe Battler, Dora the Centaur, God the Giant, which Gillius rides, and the little guy, which is called Little Tricks of the Halfling.
Basically, Tio, what you're saying is that we got Dora the Centaur.
Yes.
Being made by the original developers, this sequel does have more returning elements. Like the thieves are still the same little imps rather than the wizard-like guys from the Mega Drive sequel. The chicken leg retained its original design. However, as Tyris pointed out, they doubled down on the Conan and the Barbarian aesthetic.
Yeah. Also, Jova, I have an answer for you. For Dora, in regards to mounting, she uses shape shifting because when she mounts, a siege engine or another one of the animals, she transforms from centaur to normal human woman.
Huh. That's neat. I guess that's handy for certain centaurs that they want to properly sleep in a bed.
It's magic, Joe. I don't have to explain it.
Okay, so as you can see, the gameplay of Golden Axe Revenge of Death Hatter is basically the exact same thing you'd expect from the series. The only thing that's a bit iffy to me, because I don't really know how it works, is the magic system. Because the magic system now works differently. instead of having just that, instead of using the system from the first game, they have this thing where there's a number, and from what I can tell, you need to have that specific number on the right to use your magic at all, but then you can actually go above that number to make your magic even stronger. I think that's how it works, but I have never figured it out all the way.
There you go. Now Stern is using fire. Ooh, Scorpion with an electric sting.
Yes.
You know, Death Adder, it's nice that you're back for revenge, but you do realize that the people you're trying to gain vengeance on aren't really the people who killed you.
Well, maybe that's the idea, Jova.
Well, Gillius is here, so...
Oh, yeah, in a superficial manner, but yeah, I guess he is technically here. So what, is this suggesting that it was actually Gillius all along who was the main figurehead behind killing Death Adder?
My guess is, okay, maybe Axe and Tyris went off to another land and kingdom and are far away. So.
If I recall correctly, like I know for certain that by the time of Golden Axe 3, all of them are dead. Like.
But remember, Teo, this game is not in canon. This game ignores the Mega Drive sequels. This game is there you go. It appears that the villagers were captured and taken to the enemy's town. We are on our way to that town.
Thank you, Realistic Hand.
Scene 2: the trail to the enemy's town. ...
And action.
All right, and one thing that this game also has that Golden Axe 3 also would implement is alternate paths.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're fighting Shaman? Okay.
By the looks of it.
Whatever. And there's statues of Death Adder around. Okay.
Disgusting.
But yeah, like I was saying, remember, Teo, this game was made. This game was not made with the Mega Drive sequels in mind. This game is its own different continuity. It seems.
Yeah, but I think Golden Axe 3 was made after this.
True, but I don't. But it was made by the same team that made 2, so I don't know if they paid mine to. Oh
no, there you go. Yeah, I just read it again. Taking place after the events of 2. Yeah, there you go.
Because the Revenge of Death Adder is meant to be a sequel to the original arcade game, whereas Golden Axe 2 is meant to be a sequel to the Mega Drive port of the first game.
I mean, at the end of the day, the loose continuity is only relevant because the core, appeal to this franchise is mostly the aesthetic and the gameplay. It's just that guy got the Golden Axe, go kill him.
What about the PS3 game though? Does that one?
Beast Rider reboot complete, and you will see for yourself when we get to it. God damn it!
Okay, should be fun. Does that game have subtitles?
Yeah. Yes, if I recall correctly.
Okay,
no,
then.
actually no. The final cutscene is especially infamous because X-Battler in the final cutscene mentions a name for a sequel bait, but I still have trouble understanding what he actually says.
Okay.
Doesn't help that the credits for the voice acting is just all over the place. But again, all in due time.
So hold on. So there's subtitles in the game, but not for the ending. Is that it?
If I recall correctly, there are some for like the main game, but not for the actual CGI FMV sequences. But again, it's been a while since I actually finished recording, and so I will need to look again at the raws.
So basically,
confirming that.
So even back in the PS3 days, people were still doing the PS2 God of War thing. Okay.
Well, in general, Pedro, even to this day and age, there are some games that you lack subtitles completely, or have them in almost impossible to see fashion because they're like too small, for example. I know that Last of Us Part 2 basically put the ideal scenario of the best, the golden standard for how someone wants to customize an HUD, But I know that a lot of developers don't have that luxury for one reason or another.
Sure. Ghost of Tsushima has actually been adding its own accessibility stuff throughout patches. Like they've actually have some very comparable settings right now on that game.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting how the last couple of titles for the PS4 kind of experimented with this. Detroit Become Human had the subtitles enlargement thing. Medieval had the colorblind settings of all things, and now these two.
It's probably a new thing that that Herman Hulst probably is encouraging ever since he took over Worldwide Studios. But anyway, back to this. Even the go message is the same as in the first game. So basically, as you can see, this is the original creator and his original team they were trying to make something that was somewhat a bit more recognizable. Not that the skeleton
are just as annoying.
Not that the Mega Drive sequel was not recognizable. It's just that they changed, like for example, the chicken leg in the Mega Drive sequel looked nothing like the original chicken leg. So
just you wait about all the redesigns for Beast Rider. You're gonna love them, and by that I mean hate them. Oh, you can double pile drive the enemy. That's cool.
You can, yeah. This sequel is one of those. Unlike the Golden X2 sequel and Golden X3, this one is a sequel that most fans agree did a better job in bringing in new things while at the same time not straying too far like Golden X3 did.
I can also see. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
My only real issue, with this game is mostly that. While I do like the aesthetics, I do think the music is a bit just comes across as a bit generic to me, and the gameplay, while good, is very atypical. I guess you can say that. Well, that's what you expect, I guess. But it's just that I think I wish they could have added some kind of unique little gimmick to further distinguish it. Something like.
The thing that I noticed is that in terms of how you see the screen, the quote-unquote camera is a bit more zoomed in compared to the previous games. Previous games were, taking a bit more from afar, while now you see instead both characters much more close-up, which reflects a bit also more a couple of other beat 'em ups. But I guess it makes also potentially a bit challenging when you're, for example, ganged up by enemies like with the skeletons here.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, despite being the more beloved sequel from the fan base, this game has never been re-released ever since it released in the arcades back in 1992, if I remember correctly. And look at that! Here you go. This game introduces a new thief. The Grey Thief. I think it's grey, at least.
Believe it or not, these two will show up for Beast Rider.
Yeah, basically, he buries the potions underground.
Piece of garbage.
Yeah, the thieves in this game are way faster. Like, seriously, look at that.
There you go.
I really hope, considering... Oh, okay. Seeing the enemy's town, we renewed our oath. Our oath to save the.
Don't you mean your oath?
Okay, allow me.
Check your dictionary.
Okay,
Theme 3, snuck into the town.
Japanese people don't know English. Okay. What was it? Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Considering M2 is still working on the Sega Ages line for the Switch, I'm really hoping they're allowed to make a Golden X collection that hopefully includes this one, and hopefully they'll unlike with the 360 collection, they will this time include both the original arcade and the Mega Drive port of Golden X1. Hopefully, because I wonder if they'll
get to do Saturn games.
Potentially. The problem is that Sega themselves are not all that interested in releasing Saturn games that are not Knights. That's the thing.
Not even Burning Rangers. That's a damn shame.
Well, Burning Rangers wasn't exactly a big hit, sadly. So
I know, but if I recall correctly, it has a cult following.
Oh, it does, obviously. It's just that...
Oh, Jesus Christ, these ladies pissed. Anyway, Urban Dictionary tells me for two definitions that probably are not fitting. One, as in or of saying the term relating to the word oh, as in surprise or astonishment, which doesn't really fit. Or two, synonymous for taint. Taint coming from Socorro, and I'm referring to the space between, well, you know what. That's That's clearly not what they meant. So probably typo. It's a bit weird, though, because it can be even like, oh, they just typed a different letter, because in the keyboard, the T and the C are... Oh, hello. For a keyboard, the letters C and T are well separated, so it's not like we could have just mistaken that.
No, it's just... this game was mostly...
It's like what you said. Japanese people probably were doing all the work themselves and thought it was the correct word.
What happened? Someone set up us the bomb. Okay, so... Yes.
Yeah, with typos like that, they'll be spreading to the titles of the games next. I mean, I'm surprised to retitle this game Golden Axe, Revenge of Death Bladder or something.
Okay, Mr. Cyclops, you don't have to scream all the time. Come on.
But it's my gimmick.
You're gonna deafen everybody.
And now you have to fight him.
Yes.
I love how they try to showcase. Look how much improved this graphical engine is by having moving the characters in the third dimension.
Well, yeah, obviously. Because remember the arcade business at the time was Sega's primary focus. Back when the Mega Drive was made, one of the big marketing gimmicks that they used was that bring the arcade experience home, because Mega Drive actually allowed for some really good arcade ports. So.
Okay, Jesus Christ! This guy screaming is starting to get annoying.
That's the thing too. Like. This game also falls into that trap that most arcade games of this nature fall into, where they up the difficulty to ridiculous degrees to make sure you consume as many coins as possible.
No, I wasn't mentioning just that. It was the fact that the soundbite they used constantly was, a bit annoying on the long run.
The best way to play this game is with MAME on your PC, or if you have a homebrew console of any sort that can run MAME in there and play that. I'm recording this on my Nvidia Shield because MAME on Nvidia Shield is fantastic. You can run all of these arcade games that I've recorded recently.
I can see that
fantastically. So it's great for that. I actually do have a full ROM set of every arcade game that's compatible with MAME. So I have all of that stuff. So cool. Oh, look at that! They're supposed to be the Bad Brothers, but redesigned.
I forgot which color palette was General Malt and the other guy the red one, I think.
General Malt was red, yes. The generals were red/pink. The colonels were green. Well, actually, no. The Bad Brothers reskins into sergeants were blue. Whatever.
You left the people chained there.
And Red Sonja is back now. I thought we defeated you already.
You'll never beat me.
I love how the guy is cowering in the background.
But I have a giant scorpion.
Don't shoot on the piano player.
There you go. I will say that I do appreciate the fact that the bosses now have life bars, so...
Yeah, it helps understanding at what point you are.
Because in the original, you just had to basically pummeling at them until they die, basically.
Most beat 'em ups actually fall into that.
And there you go.
Alright, moving on. I'm sorry we were disturbing you.
Oh, and now we're actually... Yeah, now he's actually wearing red, so...
There was another red one in the previous room, too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it just ran away like a pussy. Who is it? And who you are, gentlemen? I can see this guy is very hard to hit.
Yeah, also, they made things darker for some reason.
Every time you hit him, the room gets lighter.
I don't really understand this gimmick. Maybe the developers were thinking, wouldn't it be cool if we made a dark room where every time you bet the boss it gets brighter? Like,
there was the dungeon before the cave where you could hit the torches to light up a room. Again, I kind of get the feeling that it's a cage match. All right, Weaves, what? Oh no, you could just
It's meant-
piece of shit.
it's meant to be, yeah, and Gillius is the one that cuts us down. There you go. So there you go, guys. Turns out
Gillius was helping.
Gillius is not here superficially. He did help.
Well, not just that. It stated also technically that Gillius does the magic.
We rescued all of the villagers, but some of them had been recaptured and taken to the castle of Death Adder. We kind of suck at this.
Also, T, I get what you're gonna say, but I'm not sure any wrestling about to do.
Scene
March
4.
4th, the castle of Death Blatter.
Death Adder. Yeah, the game is actually...
I was gonna say
Fear.
Death Blatter or something.
Yeah, this game is actually pretty short. About as long as the original, really. There's not that much in terms
I
of
can
length.
see the branching paths are there for some replayability value.
They are, but they're not all that interesting. It just boils down to different hallway with more enemies, basically.
Boom.
It's not. Trust me, it's not really worth a second
Doomed
playthrough.
only.
Yeah. There you go.
I love that they also carry these miniature siege weapons, and you can also use them for your advantage.
Indeed. Now the longest Golden Axe game is, at the very least of the original series, is free. I don't know how long Beast Rider is.
It's not too long, but believe me, not even counting the artificial difficulty, it does feel like an eternity. It's one of those games, the one that will make you feel every second.
Oh boy. Well, the skeletons are back, so there's that.
And also Skeleton Dragon, that's metal.
Yeah.
It's metal.
Again, I'm still somewhat convinced that that back in the days when he was young, Hidetaka Miyazaki was a Golden Axe fan, most likely. Because these skeletons are very similar to the ones we find in
Well, like I said, similar to Final Fantasy, a lot of games took inspiration on one thing that was most popular at the time, Dungeons and Dragons. And again, the Monster Manual did provide the staples of a lot of fantasy monster cliches, like the Draco Lich, which this is an example of, is the Undead Dragon, which is just more than a simple skeleton.
And now we're fighting living trees.
More specifically, I guess the correct, it's probably not mentioned, but the correct term is usually trance. Yeah.
You know, if these were the trees from Lord of the Rings, I'd be okay with fighting these guys, because I mean, hell, they'll take forever to say their evil speech so I can kill them in like a second.
The concept of sentient.
And then that guy from that guy from that trilogy will show up and see how much we've killed all these trees, and he's like, no.
Tree weird, but the concept of sentient trees that seek vengeance on mankind for cutting away goes as back as Celtic mythology, basically. So it's nothing completely new. It's just that when creating Lord of the Rings, Tolkien did use a pastiche of Celtic mythology and all sorts that were encompassed at the time.
Man, there's a lot of shaman in this game.
Yeah, I know, right?
Alright, maybe this will take care of them.
Jesus, they get stoned by inhaling the smoke of Medusa, I think.
There we go. There you go, see? If in order to open a door, just beat the crap out of it.
Did we interrupted something?
Apparently we did, yes.
It actually does remind me, one of the Easter eggs in Vanquish is that if you enter a center room without getting noticed, the robot enemies that you find are actually doing a similar dance to these ones. Well, from what I remember, it's more of an Easter egg similar to Golden.
Alright, so check this out. An elevator that's stuck to a giant beetle? Oh,
that's cool.
Interesting concept, I guess.
Poor beetle, though. It's tied up so it can't fly.
I guess Death Adder forces the beetle to just work for him.
It's a thing that he does also in Beast Rider, I can tell you that. Not necessarily a beetle.
What, there's giant beetles in Beast Rider too?
No, but okay, that was a nice jump. But Death Adder enslaving monsters for his benefit that are cooperating only because they're tied up.
God damn, Death Adder's such a douche. He kills people's parents. He enslaves animals. I mean, seriously.
I know,
He
right?
doesn't sound that nice a guy, does he?
Well, Dwibs, he's literally entering this game for his revenge. So, yeah, there's...
Well, remember, Dwebs, he did... Go ahead.
Except for...
Yes, Jova?
It's against the wrong people, except for the dwarf, technically. Like, I'm just saying, it's kind of weird for this game to be his revenge when most of the people here aren't the people you'd think he'd be trying to get revenge against.
Well, Jova, to be fair, we were stuck, we got trapped earlier, and Gillius was the one who cut our rope, so he did help.
Not just that, much like with Mr. X in the Streets of Rage sequels, I have to question how did Death ever manage to gain again all these supporters in such quick time.
Maybe a lot of them were Result supporters from the first game.
Oh, great! It's another Cyclops that screams.
Again, it's one of those cases where, it's one of those cases where I think. What I was trying to say was, well, remember, Dwebs, literally the first plot point that gets established in this franchise is Death Adder killed Tyris' parents, he killed Axe's mom, and he killed Julius' brother. So basically, this guy's shtick.
It's an eternal cycle of revenge.
Going around killing people's loved ones because it's just a douche.
Again, in itself, is also a reference potentially to the Conan the Barbarian movie, where James Earl Jones' character kills Conan's mother in front of him, but decides to spare him because it's no consequence. And even when he meets him all those years later, he pulls on him buys and he's like, "Well, it was just a Tuesday for me."
Yeah. I also like how the Conan the Adventurer series from the 90s did it, where the
cartoon. I remember seeing a couple of episodes, but it's one of those series that I always wanted to see more, but I never actually could.
It's basically it's Barbarian Testosterone, the TV show, basically, and that is just mostly implemented by having the most one of the most amazing intros to a cartoon ever. Like, seriously. Basically, Dwebs, here's the plot of Conan the Adventurer. And I will recite it to you in the way that the intro does. Conan, the greatest warrior ever. His quest to undo the spell of living stone cast upon his family, while dragging the evil serpent man back into another dimension and vanquishing their leader, the cruel wizard Raphamon. So there you go, Dwebs. That's the plot. Yes.
It's like an Ultimate Warrior speech.
Yes. Basic Dwebs, stone spells and snake warriors coming from a different dimension.
I mean, that is cool, I guess.
It actually is surprisingly faithful to the kind of stuff you'd see in the Conan books, because the Conan books were full of that weird shit.
Yeah, I know that the movie is strongly differentiates from those. But another thing, the Marvel Comics actually hold, and is still holding right now currently, the Conan the Barbarian license for its product. And similar to most of its other licensed properties, they didn't just did a simple run and left in the background. No. Conan is an integral part of the Marvel Universe. In recent time, he's also been in the Avengers, mind you. Hold on. Pedro?
Sorry, now we do battle in the castle. Scene 5, defeat the Death Adder. Death Adder.
It's not Death equals Adder, so there's that. Jesus Christ, what an ego. This is like Eggman.
Carved a mountain in his own guise.
Gotta love the way that they phrase it. Defeat the Death Adder. Not just Death Adder, the Death Adder.
The Death Adder.
Well, I mean, how many other Death Adders do you know?
Are there any more Death Adders which I should know the existence of?
Well, Dwebs, considering this guy keeps coming back to life, I'm starting to wonder if how many of them are, because remember, Dwebs, in the Mega Drive port, there's a Death Adder Jr. and a Death Bringer, who's just basically a souped-up reskin. So...
And in the arcade version, we saw the Death Adder again is the embodiment, just an embodiment of evil, which is a pile of snakes, adders property. But no, was mentioned about Conan. in some of the early issues, they, again, in making current part integrant of the Marvel Universe, they made it that in the Cimmerian era, the Yborian era, the prehistoric fantasy age where Conan lived, he actually was one of the first to actually fight one of Doctor Strange's very recurring enemies, the Lovecraftian entity Shumagorath. So, once again, Marvel proved that just because you have a licensed product doesn't mean that you cannot, make it a part of your current universe. That was actually really cool.
Yep.
Indeed. All right.
Jesus.
Time to try to... Okay, let's see. So what we have to once again kill Death Adder. Hopefully he'll stay dead this time.
I swear, the Mohawk look never looks good on anyone, man or woman.
Not a fan of the Mohawk?
I think it looks cool on Storm enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, that was like one of my least favorite looks.
Take that, Death Adder. We're destroying your precious statue.
Pieces by pieces, and you're destroying the castle. That's cool, actually.
How's that for karma?
Yeah, imagine how time-consuming and physical consuming it was to sculpt the mountain exactly like that.
It's like if Nicolas Cage in one of these, Templar-like movies, the one that you read your cover sheet, actually when he's in Mount Rushmore, he blows out. The librarian, Jovel?
I don't know. National Treasure. I think
there you
was
go.
the
Thank
movie.
you. Yeah, if it's like in one of those products when he's in Mount Rushmore, he actually blows up George Washington's face.
Maybe we could get Dexter to make the statue go alive, because that was a Dexter's Laboratory episode where both Mandark and Dexter somehow with science managed to get the presidents from Mount Rushmore to somehow come out of the mountain. Apparently behind those inside those mountains they have full-blown giant bodies as well. Don't ask me how that. Don't ask me how that works. No, what I love to is that basically Mandark revives George Washington and Dexter revives Abraham Lincoln, and then they have a kaiju fight. But then when they're evenly matched, suddenly they start talking to each other. And they're like, it seems like we're evenly matched. And then Abraham Lincoln's like, yes, I cannot lie. You are a worthy opponent. And then Washington's like, wait, you can tell a lie? Never. Honest tape. That's what they call me. And then they just fuck off and put Dexter and Mandark down, and then just go off and hang out together. So there you go. So there you go, everybody. If you wanted to know what would happen if George Washington met Abraham Lincoln, that's apparently what would happen. They would maybe become friends. It seems.
I mean, at least it's better than, hey, we used to be presidents of the United States.
There you go.
Let's be friends.
Again, we interrupted something.
I think we did.
Is this racist or not? I can't quite tell.
Well, maybe to a degree, but again, product of its time. I can let it pass.
And more.
It actually reminds me instead of the Dynamite Cop video game, which has tribesmen attacking a cruise ship. At least it's the first level, I think.
It reminds me of the pointless, stupid indigenous people from the Peter Jackson King Kong movie. Although to be fair, they were in the original too. It's just that they spent so much time on them though. Jesus. All right.
Oh.
Yeah, that's one issue I have with this game. This game has a fetish for reusing bosses. A lot.
If they were at least, if they were at least cool enough, I'm okay. But again, I have associated now this guy to his constant, incessant screaming. So of course every time he shows up, it's not a pleasant experience for me.
Hell, the first game at the very least bothered to reskin the reused bosses. This game doesn't even bother to reskin them most of the time. There was at one time where the guy now was wearing red, but this guy always looks the same. And Red Sonja also looks the same every time.
Yay, more treasure. Sorry, peasants. We're here to just gather the treasures.
Well, our goal is to defeat Death Adder. We never said anything about freeing prisoners too.
Then again, also the description tells that some of these villagers were apparently, so unlucky that despite being freed, they were immediately recaptured.
Remember
here.
We have to we have to focus on defeating Death Adder
There,
too.
now you're free to go.
Probably because we were just in the way.
Remember too, like Dweb said, his pet tarantula was killed by Death Adder, so he must die.
Huh.
Didn't you say? Wasn't that what you said, Dwebs? That in when we did the first game, that your pet tarantula was killed by Death Adder?
Well, I don't know. I was out the call for 2 minutes.
No, that's why I'm asking. Like when we did the first game, you said that your pet tarantula was killed by Death Adder, so we're about to avenge your pet tarantula.
Yeah, exactly. Never mind the fact that never
Oh,
had
there
a
it is.
right.
And
Yeah,
there's Death Adder.
Yeah, actually, not Death Adder.
Oh.
I'll let you in a little secret.
Oh,
I
snap.
lied. I never had a pet tarantula. I just said that just so I could kick your ass.
His
So-
shield literally munches upon your magic.
Yeah, Death Adder has changed equipment. Now he has a more grayish, typical knight suit, a shield, but he still has the golden axe.
Yeah. And also has a proper cape this time around. I love the way it's animated, actually. They actually put a lot of... You could tell you put a lot of work into his sprite.
We actually have to fight Death Adder twice in this game.
Well, I can see that the Elvar is for the shield this time around, so I guess you just had to break it and then fight him properly.
All right, and yeah,
Damn it.
so there you go. The shield actually eats your magic, so don't do what I did, and be sure to guard your magic during this first phase. It's a good thing I can insert as many
There we
coins
go,
as I
almost
want.
there. There we go. Now we say it's actually more on. Hopefully.
There you go.
Oh shit!
Oh,
But that still begs the question: can you double pile drive him?
And yes, Death Adder still has some of the same magic he had in the first game, where he throws those shockwaves through the floor. There you go.
Damn. He's clearly not fucking around.
No,
well, when he said he wanted his revenge, he meant it.
when he throws those things, just jump. That's the only way to avoid that.
Let's turn an arcade beat 'em up final boss into a platformer.
But since I can, I don't know too. Like it's
No, I know, it's just that I understand it was just, another way to spill your quarters.
true, I guess. Well, that's the thing too. Fortunately, with emulation, I can put in as many quarters as I want.
Yeah.
But of course.
These games, it's one of those cases where a lot of these games, when you play them on an emulator,
There we go.
They games start to show their age because they were made for a very specific environment.
Yeah.
And there we go.
Damn, he exploded.
The world is saved.
So, wanna
is
get a
it?
taco?
Oh, not
Oh, shit!
final
Final
scene.
scene.
I mean,
Wow.
these actually caught me off guard.
Final scene. But well, actually, since the health bars never vanished.
Yeah, it was a point there.
I've gotten my training through for that from watching NXT recently. I mean, just because you see the copyright logo on the screen, which usually signifies the end of a show, doesn't mean it's the end of a show. There could be a surprise, and that's
There
how
we
I
go.
know. That's how I
And-
know that this
Now
wasn't gonna
stay
be-
down, please.
Eat this, guys.
What?
He's gonna
Oh,
kill.
snap.
You'll never.
You'll never make
You
it.
never make
He's
it.
about to do
And
combat.
Gillius kills him with an axe to the head.
Damn, that's brutal.
And
And they both fall.
there you go. The last remaining member of the original trio is now dead.
F.
Huh. I guess it's thematic in a sense. The old guard of The golden
The old
axe, no
generation
more.
passes on to the new one. And the golden axe is still, is in safe.
What a sacrifice. Kind of a shame that Tyris will kind of end up coming back, but that's
Fiend.
Damn, it's
Fiend.
just so somber in the way it ends like this.
It is somber, ain't it?
But don't worry,
Oh,
guys.
there's
Here's
this music.
Oh well. So Gillius sacrificed himself. Oh well, time for the party.
Yay! Root beer for everyone.
Drinks are on that guy. Look, even
Okay.
I don't know any of
Okay.
See you
next
next game.
game.
Never ever. But I have to admit, the way they had all the enemies parade like that, the tone deafness aside, it was actually quite charming.
It is.
I mean, whatever next in like I kind of Pedro. Could you imagine if at the end of Professor Layton 3, immediately after that cutscene, it cuts to Layton and Luke having a party at a disco?
Yeah. Well, this game was not made with plot in mind, so I can at the very least be more forgiving.
Yeah, no, it's just. I mean, if you imagine it that way, it's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. No, it is. Okay, so that was Golden Axe Revenge of Death Adder. It's a very good game for what it is. It does manage to double down on the aesthetic. I still personally prefer the first one just because I find its simple charm just very sweet. Maybe it's just nostalgia, but whatever. But I will admit that this game also does does step up in a lot of stuff, like with the alternate paths, and the aesthetics are even cooler. I do, however, and that's the primary reason now that I think about it. The primary reason why I still prefer the original is because I still don't think it was necessary to get rid of all of the original characters. I don't know, I like it. Gillius is there, and he's my favorite, but we can
He
play
dies at the end.
It's not even just that. I would be okay if Gillius dying at the end if it really allowed me to play as him. It's just like it's the same thing in Free, where he's just there and he sends us an our quest, and there you go. Follow. Good luck, dipshits. It's I just wish we could play as him. Like I don't understand why only one in Mega Drive 2 was the only one where we could play as Gillius. I mean,
don't worry, Pedro. The old guard will be back in Beast Rider.
Ha ha ha, Jova, you're not funny. Moving on.
is Gillius even in Beast Rider?
Yes, but it's a long story and it needs to be tied to that game. So for now, just keep that in the back of your brain.
Regardless, it is a more memorable sequel than the Mega Drive sequel, to be fair, because the Mega Drive sequel is just kind of there. It's functional, but it's very unremarkable. This one is more remarkable because it does have, at the very least, a more memorable ending, and it does have more memorable mooks and enemies. It's just a shame that they reused them so much. The music, however, is not that good. It just sounds generic to me. It's definitely not on par with the music in the first game and Nafumiya Taya's music for the Mega Drive sequel. There's one thing the Mega Drive sequel definitely did better was Nafumiya Taya's soundtrack. Definitely. This soundtrack to me just comes across as generic. But aside from that, it is a better sequel than the Mega Drive one, so there's that. It's a shame that after this, the original creator never went on to make any more Golden Axe games, because Golden Axe 3 was made by the same team that made the Mega Drive sequel, if I remember correctly. So, oh well. We'll have to wait and I guess we'll have to wait and see how 3 is, so tune in for that, too.
Alright, I'll go next. Honestly, this is actually pretty nice, the way it's presented and all. But there is some cheapness factor there, but I think it's still better compared to the previous game. You can think that these people have refined, their development skills. They also try to inject just a bit more plot, especially with the ending, They clearly wanted to give the player like a surprise, considering that third encounter in a small area, cramped area, and it ends up this frantic fight with Gillius, sacrificing himself. But like axing off, no pun intended, the OG cast so soon might have been a bad choice. I'd say like It should have been done a bit more organic. But if I had to guess, it's because considering how Sega was, dispersing the series, I was saying, oh, this team will do these sequels there, but the original team may do this arcade sequel there. Then there was also the RPG on the Master System too. So it gets me the idea that Sega just wanted to build this franchise, but without connecting it too much. With each title, aside from maybe the mainline ones. But still, it's actually pretty nice. I don't know what these particular developers did afterward. I hope they did something, at the very least.
Let me check.
It doesn't tell me anything. I'll check in on Wikipedia instead after this. But honestly, to me, so far, this is actually my... judging by looks alone, because actually I haven't managed to play this title, but it definitely looks the better and plays the better of the title so far.
Chova.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it plays the best of the games we've seen so far as well. And I'll admit, there actually seems to be a surprisingly more concentrated focus on narrative, mainly in the end here and there. I do agree, though, that again, it's like I said, because of apparently the series' quickness in getting rid of the old guard, Death Adder's back for revenge against 1/3 of the people who supposedly wronged him in the first place, and well, even still, poor Gillius is dead by the end. I mean, it's a noble death, no, don't get me wrong, but I will agree, it feels weird to have done it like that. That said, overall, though, this game feels nice and quirky, and while it can be a bit tone-deaf regarding literally having quirky music after Gillius sacrificing himself, it still does seem like a nice epic follow-up sequel here, and I look forward to more in this series.
Alright, before Dwibs go on, I actually found some information. First, there were 3 composers for this. Masanori Takeuchi, Tomoyuki Kawamura, and Makoto Uchida. Which also did some songs composed for stuff like Alien Storm, Altered Beast, and the Dynamite.
Makoto Uchida, Makoto Uchida was the composer of the original arcade game.
Dynamite Deca. But here's the other information that Pedro sort of mentioned before, but didn't know. The game has received a re-release recently. However, not properly on home console, but instead as a promotion that Sega is doing with the so-called Astro City mini arcade cabinet, which contain a bunch of games like Alien Storm, Alien City, Altered Beast, Dark Edge, Fantasy Zone, and both the arcade version of Golden Axe and this game, also a Virtua Fighter. So it actually has 36 games in it. So basically Sega is doing this mini arcade collection, just not on console, but instead its own minor like plug and play thingy. So that's cool, at least to see the game being released in some kind of fashion. But I do agree that also re-release on console and PC, the current system and PC would be nice.
Yeah, because these things are very, like, not a lot of people pay attention to these kinds of releases.
Also, so far it's coming to Japan, so we don't know if there's a Western release.
Even worse then. Go ahead, Des.
I mean, like I said before, I'm not really huge on these kinds of games anyway, but it looks fine.
Alright. So yeah, everybody, that was the Golden Axe Revenge of Death. After this, the original developers just kind of moved on to make Alien Storm. So that's a whole nother thing. So obviously now it's back to the Mega Drive and see what the Golden Axe 2 team is up to. So tune in for Golden Axe 3.
Yeah.
See ya.
See ya.